Disclaimer, I love MatPats theories, and I would like to mention that the purpose of this video is that it is also just a theory, just an alternate idea of MatPats theory that I've come up with and wanted to talk about. I would like to also say that I'm mainly only going to reference game theory and their theories, and I have not looked into whether others have thought of similar theories like me, so if by chance someone has a similar theory, I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. Imagine a simple civilization that's slowly upgrading through their new tools and weapons, simple fishermen, women working to build their society. But then a hint of rising water crept from the depths to take everything they made. As the water kept growing, the village built higher, making sponges to escape the currents, but soon they realized they couldn't escape. They created an artifact that would let them live with the ocean, a conduit. And while they managed to escape one issue, they soon realized that it was far from over. After years of tranquility in the ocean depths with a giant monument created to join the ocean, they soon realized they were not alone in the world. These ocean ancients began to see larger vessels growing over and darkening their temples, so they struck what appeared to be a giant creature, but soon became their worst nightmare. Part 1. Civilization and Creation of the Monument. Based on my observation, I don't think that the ocean civilization being swept away was the end of the story/civilization, as MatPat suggested in his video, Game Theory, The Tragedy of Minecraft's Sunken Tomb, The Drowned. Rather, it was somewhere in the beginning, as in the Ocean Ancients, or OA, as I'll be referring throughout this video, were one of the first civilizations, and the flood was kind of the beginning of something much greater. I'll preface that most of my evidence will come from the base game, Java and Bedrock Edition, with little to none from other games such as Minecraft Legends, although I'm sure there's more lore implications in them, and if you want to add to these ideas with those games in mind, I would love to hear from you in the comment section. But while I believe when MatPat states that the flood consumed the civilization, I don't believe that's how the civilization ended. Rather, you see, according to the wiki, the ocean monument can spawn within any deep ocean variant, which to me just indicates that the flood happened in multiple locations, or, what I believe, the monument was built by choice in a deeper location. And I believe that the monument was built by choice after the Great Flood, more like these OAs or adapted to the idea that the flood might reoccur. The way I tie this together is by looking at the ocean ruins. Just by picture alone, they look like a village remnant. So that must mean that there was a village there at some point that got destroyed. Again, probably a flood. But out of fear, sponges were made to remove most of the water, and that is why some ruins can spawn on land, as stated by the wiki. But realizing that the flood could come again, they gathered shells from the beaches they lived in and crafted the heart of the sea. Now this might be a leap, since there's not much to indicate how they made the heart of the sea, but since all the treasure chests contain at least one, I will assume that they could be crafted, but it was the secret of how to craft them that made them such valuable treasures to pirates. Thus, after creating the heart of the sea, they moved deeper to the depths, becoming one with the ocean, and that's when monuments were made. I also want to point out that the head of the monument looks suspiciously like a place that the conduit would fit, or would be placed. Part 2. Before the war/conflict arises. Like I mentioned before, shortly after the creation of the conduit, it's plausible that the OAs were peacefully hidden from the new generation of civilization, or I'll shorten it to NG, for a time being. Soon, commercial trading started to occur within different civilizations, mainly the jungle, spruce, dark oak, and plains biome. Looking into the Minecraft wiki, you can see how these are the only types of shipwreck colors that occur, meaning that the savanna was left out. And once this trading occurred, is when the OA started to attack the ships, which is how we have shipwrecks. Possibly it wasn't out of anger, but rather fear of what these vessels could do to them, similar to how in real life the Sentinel-Lees opposed any contact with other nations. And since at first the OAs were probably trying to instill fear on the pirates, the survivors probably assumed that it was an act of malice, war, ill intention, etc. Then they told stories of the raiding civilization hidden in the depths of the ocean, causing them to seek what treasures could also be hidden in the dark. Part 3. Pirate Civilization. Now here's where I would like to add that there were different types of pirates, as by looking at statistics of how loot is dispersed within the game, there seems to be some sort of connection. See, in shipwrecks, you can see the different types of loot dispersed within 3 categories, such as supply, treasure, and map. And these chests contain loot that suggests that this conflict started early on. For example, in the supply chest, you can find leather armor and basic food items like wheat and carrots, which suggests that these were commercial traders trying to defend themselves, as seen by the fact that you can find TNT and gunpowder in the occasional wreck, and not the pirates that the OAs were probably going to fight all throughout their war. Mainly that these were probably early colonizers moving and traveling throughout the world that coincidentally were the survivors of the initial attack. Now, then there's the map chests, which suggests that these were the explorers and cartographers of their respective society, helping and coming up for new trade routes or places to colonize. And finally, the treasure chest, which as you can see only has treasure, which indicate the true pirates, the destined villains of the OAs. Part 4. War. So now that we have all the contestants all in order, let's look at how it all went down. Based on shipwrecks, we can assume that these pirates were survivors who started telling the masses of the OA's existence, which led to the true pirates to go seek the treasure hidden in the ocean. Now looking at statistics again, we can sum up what kind of treasure-seeking pirates fought with and how the war most likely ended. For example, looking at loot percentages of Bedrock players, we can see that loot percentages that fall within 57.2%, which include chainmail armor and iron, indicate being basically trained pirates. So they had, like this point of civilization, these pirates had a decent amount of armor and they were probably within the Iron Age of tool civilization. Loot percentages of 46.9% include diamonds and water breathing, which indicate the wealthy slash more trained and probably more strategic pirates within the crew. Loot percentages of 34.3%, which include leads, TNT, gold, name tag, and a potion of regeneration, indicate the merchant slash defensive pirates, like those commercial pirates that were within the crew that were probably just there and just the travelers on a voyage. Loot percentages of 18.9%, which include prismarine crystals, book and quill, and music discs, to me indicate the storytellers and the proud survival pirates. Like these are the pirates that went head to head and survived and were able to gather materials from like the OAs, the prismarine crystals basically. Now, there is a loot percentage of 11.8%, which only includes an enchantment bottle, and this is the part where I exactly don't know what that means. To me, enchantment bottles could indicate either battle experience or just kind of general experience of some kind, just put in a bottle. I really don't know what the enchantment bottle could mean. But loot percentages of 4.1%, which is only a cake, strongly gives the idea of a successful pirate attack and a victory that led to the downfall of the OAs. Now, because all these loot percentages are scattered within one chest, as in one chest could have multiple of these or any of that, it just means that these crews were kind of just put in together. That this isn't just one crew of survival, one crew of merchants. These crews of pirates were put together. They banded together. So they could go on voyages, they could trade, they could attack, they could fight, they could defend themselves, all of this and that. Now, this might be a bit of stretch, but the achievement for collecting treasure is called Me Gold, which could suggest, I don't believe it, but could suggest that we are descendants of a pirate race. But to be honest, I just see it as highly unlikely and just more added of a bit of fun, just a little fun bit from the developers. But that doesn't discredit other achievements that do lead to ideas that there's more lore involved. Again, I just want to finish this off and just want to say that based on all that I've gathered here, I believe that this could be a solid theory and interpretation of how one of the first civilizations worked in Minecraft and how it fell, and it went into this whole war category of stuff. And if you enjoy this theory, I really want to hear your thoughts down below. If you want to like this channel, if you want to subscribe, that's up to you. But I just want you guys to help me in this future endeavor of just trying to figure out the lore of Minecraft. Because although I believe a lot of what game theory has to say, some parts just don't click all that too well. Now, I will say that there are moments where I do tend to forget what he does state. So if I did repeat something he said, also point that out because it just might have left my mind. But thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye.